This Mary Magdalene is a witness, a participant, a force in the narrative of Jesus' life, not an accessory, not a cautionary tale. Her identity in the Gospels is one of empowerment, spiritual awakening, and radical devotion. She is both disciple and leader, transformed and transformative, a woman whose presence demands recognition and respect. Mary Magdalene's life was marked by a remarkable independence, rare for any woman in her time. In a society that expected women to be subservient, quiet, and confined to the domestic sphere, she stood out as a figure of agency and resourcefulness. She had the means to support herself, and she chose to dedicate her resources and energy to a mission larger than herself. She traveled with Jesus and the disciples, contributing not just her presence, but also her wealth, ensuring that the work could continue unimpeded. In doing so, she demonstrated a combination of courage and foresight, a willingness to step into roles that were socially unconventional and yet spiritually vital. While most women were confined by the dictates of family, tradition, and gendered expectation, Mary asserted her autonomy, using her influence to sustain a movement of radical love, teaching, and compassion. She was a benefactor, a supporter, and a participant in ministry, challenging the norms of her society simply by existing in full expression of her gifts. Her independence was mirrored by an inner strength that became most evident in times of crisis. When fear and uncertainty gripped others, she remained steadfast, embodying a presence that was both stabilizing and inspiring. She was not a shadow of the disciples, she was a companion in every sense of the word. Her choices reflected intentionality and purpose. She chose to follow, to serve, to witness, and to act. The very act of being there, of traveling through towns and villages, listening, observing, and contributing, was a form of rebellion against a world that sought to marginalize women. And yet, this rebellion was not loud or violent. It was a quiet, persistent assertion of value, capability, and dignity. Through her actions, she showed that devotion and leadership were not mutually exclusive, that faith could empower as much as it could guide, and that the divine could work through anyone willing to embrace their own strength. When the storms of history and of human cruelty arrived, her loyalty became even more apparent. As Jesus faced the ultimate test of his mission, many of the male disciples fled, paralyzed by fear, shame, and uncertainty. Mary, however, did not turn away. She was present in the Garden of Gethsemane, where betrayal was plotted. She stood at the trials, where injustice and false accusation threatened. She accompanied him to Golgotha, where the weight of human cruelty and divine purpose collided in a moment of unimaginable sorrow. Her courage was steadfast, unflinching in the face of suffering and the threat of danger. She witnessed the crucifixion, a scene of agony and despair, yet did not falter. While others scattered, she remained, a quiet but unyielding presence at the heart of the story. Her presence at the cross was more than devotion. It was radical faith in action, a demonstration that love, loyalty, and courage can persist where fear seeks to dominate. And in the aftermath of despair, she became the first to encounter what no one else had yet seen: the risen Christ. In that moment, the world shifted. She saw him, not as a distant teacher or a figure of history, but alive, radiant, and transformative. He called her by name, not once, but in a tone that conveyed intimacy, recognition, and trust.